That's a team which is going to represent Lusaka. Of course, in Luapula, in Northern Province,
Mhm.
those teams that will finish on top, they are the one who respectively, represent their province during the playoffs.
Mhm. Beautifully put. So, our dear listener, you'll be coming through on 0211293435. That is 0211293435. You can hit us on that um, hotline, and you'll be good to go and talk with my guest, Mr. Kupikwa Chilando, who is the Football Association of Zambia Deputy Secretary General, Lusaka Province to be precise. Now, moving on, Mr. Chilando, I know that obviously quite a lot is happening in terms of football in the country. We are likely to have the annual general meeting that is for the Football Association of Zambia. I know that in all the 10 provincial um, capitals, yes, there are sub AGMs that have been happening. Would you love to share some highlights, especially vis-a-vis Lusaka province? Did you have your AGM already?
Yes, of course. And last weekend, which was on 20th, I think it marked the end of the provincial uh, AGMs, and Lusaka was the Luapula. I mean, was the last uh, province to host their respective AGM.
Mhm.
So for Lusaka, I think we did it long time ago, and it was very successive.
Mhm.
We gave opportunity to the teams, to air out their views the best way they feel we can improve as a province, because the annual general meeting gives an opportunity to the clubs to air out their views.
Mhm.
It gives an opportunity for them to, audit us.
All right.
What are we doing which is correct? What are
Mhm.
we doing which is not correct?
Right.
So that's the reason why the annual general meeting is quite important, because it brings, it develops into a policy formation, so to say, to some extent. The decision which is made by the councillors, is the one that the management need to undertake, because anonymously it has been voted, and you allow the owners of football to tell you what to do,
Right.
because sometimes you find that especially in Africa, economically,
Mhm.
sometimes it's a challenge. So you need to streamline yourself into what the councillors or the clubs,
Yeah.
what they feel the best for their leagues to be run.
Right.
That's why you have to give them that opportunity. They have to be free. It's a democratic, it's not dictatorial thing.
Mhm.
So we had given, we gave them opportunity to air out their views, their contribution. I think it was very, very valid, and I think there are some changes. For instance, I can give you an example that in the next AGM, um, we passed a resolution. The councillors passed a resolution that the zonal representatives must be attending the AGM, because in the past they were not attending. So the councillors saw it to be unfair, and we operate under the constitution. As executive, we don't run away from the constitution, not until the councillors makes a decision.
Right.
So in the next AGM, we are now going to have the councillors from the zones also to be represented, and see how much they are going to add, to the need of the province in terms of grassroots football development. Because at zonal level, that's where football starts from. So it's very, very important that the councillors passed that resolution, and it's a new resolution, and we are looking forward that those representatives who represent the zones will come up with valid also resolution from their base, so that we put together and see that we develop football at large.
Beautiful. And obviously, the main AGM is expected, to be held this week Saturday, which is tomorrow,
Yeah, which is tomorrow.
the 27th of April 2024. Now, as things are, there is an injunction by Lusaka lawyer Mr. Lewis Mosho, who has requested the Football Association of Zambia to postpone Saturday's AGM until basic issues about the constitution's mutilation are answered to the satisfaction of stakeholders. Now, this AGM is supposed to be for a non-elective annual general meeting. What can you just share with us on that aspect, especially that it's a very important meeting, and yet there is this injunction.
Well, first and foremost, you need to realize that the Football Association of Zambia has got its own spokesperson, who is Mr. Mungalas. So he's the one in charge of airing out the content of that, because it's beyond the province.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what I can say. So, and it's a matter before the court.
Okay.
So I can't say much about it. Yeah, not until it is constitutionally done. It concerns with the law, and we are a law-abided citizens and as an organization. So I can't say much, but the spokesperson for Football Association of Zambia, I think, is the one who is mandatory on that part to go in detail.
Okay.
Yeah, but overall what I can say is that whatever steps that are being done by anybody, this is a democratic country, but we need to realize that it's not affecting the development of football.
Right.
What is important is to see that football gets to be developed to the levels that we all expect. So, like the AGM is one of the most important, event, as you have already alluded to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's what I can say.
Beautifully put, and obviously in the dying embers of today's sports edition of the Lusaka Star on Unza Radio 91.7 FM with me, Patrick Kawita. We have a very special guest, Mr. Chilando, who is Deputy Secretary General of the Football Association of Zambia, Lusaka Province to be specific. Now, you did allude to quality administration of football, which I salute you for just,
Thank you very much.
Stating out that quality administration of football. That should be your mantra. That should be your mantra, Mr. Chilando. And now, recently, at the helm of the Football Association of Zambia, in fact, this very week, we heard, it is in public domain, we heard that the first president, Mr. Andrew Kamanga, has been arrested for money laundering. Now, obviously, you are also an administrator. How does this affect you?
Is that a personal question?
Yes.
Well, first and foremost, we have to understand that there are a lot of interest in everything that happens. Yeah, you know that also football has got also politics.
Okay.
We need to appreciate that. And what is important is to realize of what the Constitution states.
Okay.
Because everything, if it is binded in the Constitution, I don't think it's a problem. But if it is out of the Constitution, then that can be a problem.
Right.
I think that's my comment.
Okay. Beautifully put. And obviously, our dear listener, you can come through. I surely hope the phone lines are in speak and span. You can come through on 0211 293435. We are having a very hot conversation here with my guest, Mr. Chilando, who is Deputy Secretary General Lusaka Province, to be precise. And Mr. Chilando, there is also an important aspect of the decentralization of the Football Association of Zambia in terms of football in the country. Quickly, we are looking at the refereeing or officiating of the games. One of the things that I can allude to here in terms of officiating our umpires or our referees, yes. In most cases, what I can say is that are the standards good in our country in terms of refereeing?
Well, first and foremost, I'll give you um, an example of the just ended AFCON. We saw Diana Chikotesha to be one of the first female to be part of the finals of the AFCON
Mhm.
as the first assistant referee or second assistant referee.
Right.
So on its own, it's giving us the inch that I think we are progressing, because you have to realize of the fact that in Nigeria, no any referee was considered for the AFCON. Now, as big as Nigeria, a big nation in terms of football,
Mhm.
but for Zambia, I think we had an opportunity to see Diana Chikotesha. Obviously, the levels are high in terms of consideration by the Confederation of African Football.
Mhm.
Um, but that does not, score that we are also doing very, very well.
Mhm.
You've seen a lot of errors in the league.
Okay.
I personally, I'm speaking at personal level. I'm not
Absolutely.
speaking as Lusaka Province administration. I'm speaking at personal level.
Okay. Mhm.
On this one, yeah, we've seen that the there's a lot of errors, and I think we've seen that the Referee Association of Zambia have taken some steps.
Mhm.
Uh, they have opened some investigations. I
Yes.
can't go very much far on that one
Yes.
because it's in public domain.
Okay.
So I think they are looking at drastic measures that are supposed to, improve the refereeing. For instance, the association also need to, improve in terms of the referees, fees or
Okay.
transport refund,
Allowances.
because allowances, especially looking at uh, the economy where we are moving at. So these are some of the things as administration also which uh, we are putting into consideration. I must salute my chairman, Mr. Jordan Mariti, that we had an opportunity also to sit down with the referees, and we made sure that as a province, I think we gave them what is due to them, because you remember that they had gone on strike.
Mhm.
Yes, and we are looking forward that that should not come to repeat itself, because it brings a lot of confusion in terms of development of football.
Okay.
So I think in the near time we'll be having also, I think at the end of the season, we are also going to have another stakeholder meeting with the referees and see that we come to to a conclusion on some of the adjustment that needs to be done, especially when it comes for the referees allowances.
Mhm.
That is very, very important. As an administration, we have
Mhm.
realized of that, and we are working together with the referee department to ensure that we improve the refereeing, because that is part of improvement. So in as much as we are looking at the errors maybe that are coming through, but we also need to look at the social aspect.
Mhm.
We also need to look at the technical aspect. Technical aspect, this is where you see a lot of trainings are done at high levels, and wherever you pass through the evening on where they meet, especially on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Thursdays, you find that there are a lot of technical programs that are going through, and to see that we maintain that global standard. Janice Casway set up a very good good
Example.
example, a good precedent in terms of refereeing, that we can do better than that. So,
Right.
but that to help us is to have a lot of techniques, understanding in refereeing. So, and also the social aspect, which I've already alluded to, and as an association, and we are on track with those steps that I've spoken about.
Beautiful. And in the dying embers of this interview, Mr. Kupikwa Chilando, you are the Deputy Secretary General, Football Association of Zambia, Lusaka Province. Yeah. As we just conclude today's program, in terms of the Football Association Zambia decentralization process in its operations, what is your take-home message to clubs in Division One, clubs in Division Two, youth football, women football, men football, and all the stakeholders? We're talking about supporters. We're talking about the Zambian citizenry that follow football in this country. Your take-home message as we come to a conclusion.
Thank you very much. Um, my message is this, to the fans, to the administrators, to the players themselves, is that we need to understand that the decentralization process, which Kamanga undertook and which is performing very, very well to the expectation of the idea, is that of developing players.
Right.
And at this level, when we're talking about Division 1, 2, 3, or let me just start from Division 2 going down, that these are developmental stages. And developmental stages, when we are talking about developing the players, we are referring to participation, So the teams or all the stakeholders should aim at developing the players.
Beautiful.
But not for winning. Because when we go for winning, if you don't win, you elevate to, unsporting activities like what we have experienced. So together we can, if we realize of the value which is at provincial level is to develop players.
Beautiful.
Then as a country, we have to ensure that whatever steps that we are taking should be those that will lead to the development of football, because together we can.
Beautifully put. And that's a wrap for today's edition of the Lusaka Star Radio Magazine on Unza Radio, the sports edition. My name is Q Patrick Kawita, and on behalf of my special guest, Mr. Kupikwa Chilando, the Deputy Secretary General, Football Association of Zambia, Lusaka Province, we are saying happy sporting weekend.
Thank you. Making of another star. This is the proof. Life's on Mars. Live for today, but